Mr. Doug Collins of Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it, and I thank you for being here. I thank you for your service. And I associate myself with the representative from Hawaii and serving in Iraq and knowing the issues going on. One of the benefits of sitting down here on the bottom row is you get to listen. You hear a lot of things, and you get a lot of questions asked, and I'm not going to steal the thunder of some others that may come, but there's some, what I have heard today, though, still concerns me greatly, and I walked into this hearing concerned and very deeply concerned about the actions we're taking. I'm still there. Many of those have to do with military questions, and the questions that come from the statements such as Secretary Hagel, you made that there's no clarity on the ground, that there's no good options in Syria. These kind of things that lead me to an understanding of what happens is the limited involvement nature, which has been talked about over and over here, and the high confidence that limited nature would be effective. But if it would not, your statement just a moment ago, well, after the first volley, leaves an open ending. Well, there's another volley and another volley that would come if it did not achieve the end. I want to just, though, for a few questions on this issue. According to the unclassified assessment that was given, there were information that suggested that a possible chemical attack was imminent on August 21st. In fact, what was said was from August 18th, Sunday through Wednesday the 21st, there were Syrian chemical weapons personnel operating in the area. The report goes on to say that 3 days prior to the attack, there were streams of human signals and geospatial intelligence gathered showing the Assad regime preparing for a chemical attack. With over 48 hours notice and the recent history of chemical weapons being used in Syria, did the U.S. military not take action or quickly enough to convene the United States UN Security Council? Why did we not act, knowing the history, and I'm going to come back to this part later, as quickly as possible? Why was there nothing done at that point?
Because that information isn't real time in terms of the way it comes in. It goes through a process, so it wasn't time.
Then you really, and I appreciate that answer, but you really now concern me even more that our intelligence operation, without getting into in this setting discussion of this, that if it was not real time, we're finding out after the fact, then some of my concern, General Dempsey, would be that the limited engagement to, as you said, take out the operation or the engagement of the chemical weapons and not destroy all the chemical weapons, what is the confidence level, although you have stated high, why should I or anybody else in this committee say that there's a concern that our intelligence is not real time enough to answer your question?
Different kinds of intelligence, sir. As you probably know, and thanks for your service too, by the way, there's signals intelligence, which is what you're referring to. There's full motion video. There's national technical means that allow us to establish pattern of life. It's different kinds of intelligence.
But with the movements, there is a concern that the initial assessment could be wrong, and there would be, I guess what I'm getting at is there seems to be a lot of thought out there that this is a one-strike operation. Although I'm getting, rumor now, not rumor, but the discussions of a 30-day or 40-day or 60-day, 90-day window. I guess that's the concern I'm having. Many in America are simply saying, we're going to throw a few cruise missiles or a shot across the bow is the term that was used. That's not what we're looking at here. This could be are we saying this could be a sustained attack, or is this and without getting in or telegraphing, that's a concern. I'll stop it there. I won't ask you to answer that. But that is a concern that I think many should have. In this atmosphere also, very quickly, real close to Secretary Kerry and Secretary, how we, after the initial gas attacks earlier in the year, we upped our ante to those that were fighting against Assad. Do we have, and again, how much of that has actually got there in a real short answer? How much of that equipment or assistance is actually making a difference? Because there was, I think, one of the senators and others had said we've not actually been able to get that equipment to them.
I think we have made a difference, but not as much yet as we would like, but I don't want to go into any other details.
I understand that. I appreciate that. But in light of what we're doing here, I think it's a very pertinent information because, like I said, if we do this...
Well, one of the reasons, if I can just tell you very quickly, it's because it wasn't authorized until a couple of months ago.
I get that.
So we're just getting up on it.
But if we were to do this, it's one of those, goes back to saying of a former secretary, that if we break it, we own it. And this is a concern here. Also, I want to go back to something here that you said earlier.
We didn't break it.
I understand. But if we shoot missiles in there, we're involving ourselves in degrading stock. One quick question, and I want to give you a chance to walk back something. And it disturbed me when you said it. And I think it was a misspec, so I'm going to give you a chance. Basically, you said at this point in time, the reason we're acting now is the level of death or the level of carnage had risen to a level in which you felt like you needed to act. In my mind, what you just said a few minutes or a little while ago was that we had to have a lot of bodies to make a compelling case and that one didn't matter. And I don't believe that's what you meant.
No,
so I'm going to give you a chance to walk that statement back, because if we're truly doing this because of death, then one would matter, and we've been doing this for several months.
I appreciate it, Congressman. I don't want to leave any misinterpretation with respect to that. In the first instances, we had a lot of difficulty getting a lockdown on the level of intelligence that made everybody comfortable, and partly because it was a smaller event. You didn't have the kind of evidence. There wasn't the kind of immediacy, social media, other things that we have here, signatures, SIGINT, and so forth. We just didn't have it. In this instance, we do, and it happens also to be an even more egregious event. But that's not, the body numbers aren't the distinction. It's the level of the evidence, quality, and the comfort level. And at that point in time, the president, didn't want to rush into something.
Well, I think these are the very things that cause my concern.
We go now to Mark Meadows of North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr.